Hello. So, welcome to this series of demos. And this is the first episode, basically to explain you what the goal is, and also to show you the setup that we're using. So, what's this? What is this about? So, we want to demonstrate things that are related to PiAkkaCluster to start with, and we want to demonstrate cluster formation processes, cluster failure scenarios, and things like split brain resolver in action, all using some real hardware. And also the intent is to show it in a very visual manner. So let's have a look at the hardware first. So let's switch to the camera. And what we have here on my desk is a 5-node Raspberry Pi based cluster, where we have on each of the clusters installed a small LED, 8-lit LED strip that we can use to display different things, such as node status as seen from a particular board. What we also see is that there are network cables coming from each of the boards with different colors. So the bottom board is a yellow cable, then the next one is an orange cable, red, blue, and green. And if we focus now on the actual network connection, we have 2 switches. This is the first one. The second one. What we see is that the lower 3 boards are connected to the first switch, and the top 2 boards are connected to a second switch. We also see that both switches are connected using this white cable. So right now, all boards are connected to a single network, but we can easily create a partition that will separate the top 2 nodes from the bottom 3 nodes by pulling this white cable. And then there is a last cable, the gray one here, that is actually connected to my local area network. And of course, my laptop that I'm showing you now is also connected to that same network. So that's basically what we have in terms of hardware. Next thing I need to explain to you, so basically we have on our list, we have covered this. We have also shown the Pis, which are Raspberry Pi 3s. Explained the switches in the network. Yeah, we have a power hub that is actually a USB power hub that connects, that powers individual boards. So we've covered that. And we have the LED strip status indicator. And I'm going to explain how these LEDs are used now. So let's have a look at that. So I made this small drawing. And let me first mount the camera so that we can actually record the action when we start doing stuff. So here we have 8 LEDs basically, and these LEDs show the status of the nodes and some other stuff. And so we have 5 boards in total, nodes 0 through 4, and the first 5 LEDs indicate the status of a node. So this is node 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, as seen from that node. So every node has a status LED LED strip. So it will display its view of the status of the cluster. Then there is another LED that when it's turned on, and actually we use cyan as a color, it indicates that this node assumes a leader role. we have an unused LED for the time being, and we have the last LED that when it's blinking, we know that the software is actually running. So if it stays on or off permanently, then we know that the software has stopped running or hasn't started. Now, to indicate the role or the state of each individual node, we use some coloring, some color code. So for example, if a node is up, the LED is green. If the node is weakly up, it's also green, but the LEDs will be blinking. If a node is down, it will be indicated by a red LED. If a node is joining, it will be yellow. If a node is leaving, it will be cyan. And if a node is exiting, it will be coded by magenta. So let's have a quick run. And in order to do that, I also need to show you the hardware. So the terminal setup. So I have a terminal window. 1 second. So I have a terminal window that is subdivided in 5 terminals. If I now power on the boards, I will actually be able to make a connection. So the boards are booting and should be ready in a second to actually make a connection. So let's try to connect to the first node. So we're on. Let's connect to the second node, the third node, the fourth node, and the fifth node. So we're on. We're connected, as can be seen from the prompt. Okay, so node 0 through node 4. And since we may be disconnecting cables, I'm actually going to start tmux on every node, so that if we lose a connection, we don't stop any running commands that might be running in the foreground. So that's done. And let's quickly show something like start up. Oh yeah, something I forgot to explain is that in PiAkkaCluster, the top 4 nodes are so-called seed nodes, where this board, the second board, is actually the first seed node, and the bottom node is not a seed node. So if I start, for example, software, and I will explain in a later session what this does exactly. If I fire up a cluster node now on the middle node, we should see this LED should start blinking in a moment. So that's what happened. Let me dim the brightness a bit. Okay, so the LED is blinking, but no cluster formation takes place because we need the first seed node to be up before cluster formation can take place. So I've started up the software on the first seed node. So this LED should start blinking. So now we have 2 blinking LEDs. So we have the software running on 2 nodes. We see that you probably saw that this LED went green. So it means that it's the second node. That's correct. And now actually we see that the third node also joined. And this node, as this LED is on, the 6th LED, this node has a leader row. Okay, so that concludes the basic introduction to the setup, explanation of the LEDs, and we will have more videos that explain you different cluster utilization or failure scenarios or normal scenarios. Thank you.